Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to go back to our favorite distillery in Taiwan, Dustin.
Yes, sir.
The Kavalan Vinho Barrique.
Yes, sir.
Dustin, your bottle.
Yep.
Lovely offering here in the usual round tubes I really like. Comes with a nice little pamphlet.
Yep.
These are your papers that tell you own a house or something back in the 1700s.
Yeah, or, certify that you have a real watch or, jewelry. But apparently, I guess the whiskey is so good.
It needs certification.
Yeah. Or maybe that's actually the lost scrolls of, from some Bible or something. I don't know.
Never looked at it, Dustin. Never looked at it.
I actually haven't read it.
Got distracted by the whiskey. Look how dark this whiskey is. Wow.
Yeah.
Bang. So anyway, this is these are all these single barrels. So this is barrel W as in whiskey, 120727-129A, bottle 117 of 228. Very limited affair.
Yep, now, mind you, the W means wine, I believe. But that's a guess.
I said as in, I'm using...
Well, but I believe that actually means something. So if it's an S, it's an Oloroso sherry. If it's an F, it's Vinho.
I'm trying to tell the people it's a W.
It's a W.
It's a W.
And by the way, that means the whiskey wins.
All right, so cask maturation on this. Well, we know this is some type of wine cask, Dustin. Is that basically the gist of it?
Yeah, it's a red wine cask of some sort. I couldn't tell you anything more than that.
Yeah, not a lot. Natural color, Ontario filtered, 57.1% ABV. So big ABV right there. You know when this is bottled? Was it 2016?
16, yes. This one's been around a while.
It's dark.
And I've noticed, a lot of the Kavalans that I see here in the States they're older bottlings. These don't move super fast because of the price point and the fact that most people aren't aware of Kavalan. Those of us in the whiskey know this distillery, and we love it. Yeah.
And by the way, there's a car on the top because it's from the King Car Company. If you don't know that, you should have.
Thanks, Stephen.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Guess we're the idiots. All right, on the nose.
Man, this is like...
Vanillas and berry.
Vanilla, it's grapes, man. It's dark grape.
And there's grape there too, but they're berries. Red berries. Blueberries.
Oh, yeah, there is actually. I'm telling you, I'm smelling like grape candy from as a kid. As a kid, grape was one of my favorite candies early on. Eventually, I started getting into like the sour apple, but grape candy was my thing, and this is it.
It was not mine, but if it smelled like this, maybe.
Yeah,
but the dark grapes for sure. But again, I don't care if it's the grapes, the red berries, everything is drenched in white chocolate, melted white chocolate, almost like the pretzels. I'm not saying they get pretzel, but like the melted white chocolate pretzels, it's all over those fruits just like that.
I'm getting dark oak on this thing. Beautiful. You can just tell that like those oak casks that were holding this were in the heat and they were just baking and that was just bringing in that oak.
So sweet.
And the wine is just balancing it. And one thing we've got at some point bring is a bourbon barrel version of these guys just to talk about the malt itself in a little bit cleaner way. This thing just smells...
it's hard because all the heavily wine influenced Kavalans I've ever had were just magic.
They're beautiful.
So
it's
good.
balanced. Again, it's not too sweet. It's not too oaky. It's not too anything. It's balanced, yet it's bold and intense.
Yeah, I would say it's more like 60% on the fruits and the sweets, and like 40% is the cask maturation, which I think is kind of where it needs to be more of a sweet, sugary, white, vanilla.
Yeah. Well, oak should be oak's a compliment. You never want your whiskey to taste like oak. So you always want at least 60, yeah.
But again, walking a nice fine line, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's more white chocolate and berry sweetness and less oaky. But again, the oak's a big piece, just not an over dominant piece. It fits in exactly the right size.
It smells like it's at least a 20-year-old Scotch, where the oak has come in, it's playing a role, it's here, it's good.
This smells every bit as old as Sam Macallan 18.
Oh, at least.
At cask strength.
Yeah.
So sweet on those.
Yeah, you're right. The vanilla's really coming in here.
It is candy.
Get in there, man.
It's candy, vanilla, and white chocolate on berries.
Yeah.
With oak.
Yeah, this is the most white chocolate forward Kavalan we've had to date. We've had a couple of these, and none have been this white chocolate forward.
The palate does not disappoint. Instantly, you get white chocolate, but also a huge wall of dark chocolate with it.
Oh my god!
So chocolatey, caramel kind of comes in right there, and then on the finish, that biting oak on the tongue, on the sides of the tongue comes in. It's intermingled with the darker chocolates. And here comes back the berries and the white vanilla, white chocolate again.
Yeah.
Just a dessert, almost like fondue dessert almost.
There's berries and cream on here, 100%. There is
So good.
there's a People often, differentiate caramel and caramel.
This is the fancy way of saying
Yeah,
it.
this is caramel, and it's drizzled. It's
Yeah.
sweet, and it's beautiful, and it's been just drizzled onto this.
Yeah, people driving old Bentleys.
God.
This is the kind of candy they have.
Yeah. This is like, it's the caramel you get if you were the guy asking for the grape Poupon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's good. That's actually a good way to say it. Yes.
Oh my god, but it's very sweet. We've talked sometimes about caramel being darker, denser. This is the drizzle. This is the stuff you put on ice cream, and by the way, there's ice cream. There's no ice cream in this thing too.
Oh yeah, no, this is all kinds of dessert. Great whiskey to drink when it's a little cooler out today, like it is today. Very, very satisfying.
There's no distinction I want to make on the wine cask here. It's red wine. It's adding berries. It's adding fruits. But whatever it is, I'm telling you, these guys go out and they find the best casks every time.
It's got to be some of that climate because it gives you those berries and that fruit note I know is from those wine casks. But then on top of that, the vanilla that's infused in it has to be because that wood was just having the liquid forced in and out of it because of the climate at a high rate.
Yeah, and there's a balance here. Just it's incredible. And water, Mike, has done nothing but just
Makes it sweeter.
it's enhanced the integration, but yet again, distinct notes of oak, distinct vanilla, distinct
berry.
wine, berry. Yeah. I'd love to know what wine this was because I want to buy a bottle.
Yeah, and just even the berry notes, they're very full. It's like you pick the berry at its best possible time. Like, it wasn't this good yesterday. It won't be this good tomorrow. You picked it at the exact right time. It is that good. And with water?
Oh my god. Like, I don't get super excited about whiskeys too often here because we just drink amazing stuff consistently. This is probably the best, incredibly sweet palate I've ever had.
It's up there, man.
I mean, it's not super complex. I mean, we've got the oak tannins, you've got that. This is
It's 5 things.
simple. Yeah, but man,
All 5 things are good.
this is like the best dessert.
It's very dessert whiskey. And sometimes cask strength whiskeys go that way where it's so punchy you're only getting 4 or 5 things. But again, white chocolate, dark chocolate, berries, red berries, dark grapes, and then again that woodiness that kind of just, and that's really at first was, I said a component, but really it's the glue that binds this whole malt together.
Now, without that wood, this doesn't work.
It just binds that vanilla and white chocolate with that dark chocolate note. And again, all that's just drenched all over the berries.
Here's the key word. It complements it.
Yeah,
Exactly. The sum of the 2 parts, 1 + 1 is 3 here.
Yeah, they're far stronger together than they ever could be apart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They have the best version of each other because they walk hand in hand.
Yeah, I mean, it's like adding Ron Harper to the Bulls. Ron Harper, decent score, played okay defense, but all of a sudden you put him with Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen.
And he guards the lead guard that gives Jordan the time off defensively.
But then all of a sudden,
offensive
and then all of a sudden you got 3 guys who they hold their arms apart, can cover the entire half court.
Oh, 6'6", 6'6", and 6'7", with wingspan. All
Yeah,
3 of them.
yeah.
And that's what I was saying with this whiskey. It is 6'6" with a good wingspan.
Yeah.
They're covering just everything. If you like sweetness and a little bit of oak and whiskey, which that oak note to me, as I have more from this distillery, is there in almost everything. It's really the glue that holds all their malts together. But again, somebody that really put something together extremely well. See, where Japanese whiskeys are a bunch of little pieces, you know what I mean, that come together nice. These or at least this Taiwanese whiskey, it's 4 or 5 big pieces, but they're just expertly fit together.
Have you had much Texas whiskey yet?
Well, so what you've shared with me.
I don't think I brought you anything. So
none.
Yeah. So what Texas whiskey is doing, and I'm not a huge Texas whiskey fan, but you get this distinct, I've been aged in really hot climate, where the oak overpowers stuff. And
But it's a different oakiness.
Yeah, it is, and that's exactly it. It's a different oakiness than you get from Scotch. It's different than the bourbons from Kentucky, Tennessee.
It's a brittle oakiness, like where it's almost thinner.
Yeah.
But it's
But what Kavalan has found a way to do is they've got a super sweet base malt. Then they find these super sweet casks with incredible oak that you want in your whiskey.
But I think the oak in the cask is complemented by the climate to a large degree.
Yeah.
I mean,
the heat sucks in more, so it gets the oak in there heavier, denser. It gets the oak into the whiskey in a different way than Scotch and bourbon do.
So do you think,
because of the heat?
Yeah, it softens it up and makes it more porous. So do you think it's really they're using the best cask available, or the fact that the climate is that much of an advantage for them?
It's both, because a lot of the Texas whiskey I've had, they're not using the best casks. And that same character I get here is not a pleasant, enjoyable thing.
Okay.
Now, I've had some Texas whiskeys where they did go out and get premium casks, and those you instantly go, oh, you guys need to use those, not your regular casks. They're using the best of the best wood.
Yeah, so we're impressed with this one.
Yeah.
We're impressed. Delicious whiskey. As most of the offerings we get from this distillery are. They're not cheap,
No.
but they've always been rewarding.
Now, we'll say this, though. This one's actually, as their stuff goes, not so bad. $240 was retail. I paid $180.
If you get one of these for under $200, you're killing it.
It's a great deal.
Great value, at least here in the United States. All right, so Dustin, where are you at as far as whiskey score?
We've had a couple whiskeys today that weren't so great, and I think I'm wanting to overscore this, so I'm going to bring it down a notch and go 91.
See, I think the same thing, but I was thinking originally 91. That's why I'm going to settle on a 90.
Fair enough.
90 up. I mean, it's an excellent whiskey.
Yeah.
Sweet, beautiful, but you're right. I thought the same thing, like 91, 92.
I was literally going 92, and I said, wait a second.
Got to pump the brakes on what a 92
Yeah,
is.
this lacks the complexity to get there. This is as good a whiskey as you could get if you're just going to be sweet.
Little bit oaky.
Yeah, a little oaky. Now, I think Kavalan can get to 92, but that's the peak it can get to. And this one's not quite the best.
Not quite the best, but again, a solid offering, and again, something that I'm enjoying drinking quite a bit. So, Anyway, if you got a chance to try this one, I know previous versions of this was like Whiskey of the Year and a few things like that. So,
Yeah.
I know these are usually well thought of, but again, this one was bottled in 2016. If you guys had this one, let us know what you think, or any of these Vinho Barriques from Kavalan. And Dustin, until next time, we'll see you folks.
Happy drinking.
See you then.